spicy. Jimmy Garoppolo on there could be a benefit, but have they kind of burned that bridge?
We'll say this. Gardner Minshew is the best backup in the NFL.
I love Gardner. To 30 minutes of football with Legit Football. This is Anthony, the producer and host of Legit Football, joined here by Kevin Phillip Fox of At the Buffalo Trail. Kevin, how are you doing?
Oh, dude, I'm so fantastic, bro. As you already know, any day we get to talk football is a good day. We're doing some fun, unique stuff here to fill in the void of real games. So it's the dog days of being a football fan, and you and me are just going to embrace it together like we do.
Absolutely. We could sit here and talk about the Super Bowl all day because that's what we want. But
Right.
we're going to save that for next week because that's
Right
where
around the
I'm
corner.
just going to let the anticipation build up, and you're going to want to hear it. So join us next week because today we're going to talk about the Pro Bowl games held in Las Vegas this Sunday. Players are selected to go to the Pro Bowl. If you are unaware, they did take out the Pro Bowl, the actual game. They did take that out. So it's going to be a flag football game coached by the Manning brothers, Eli and Peyton. So that should be a lot of fun with the, low contact rules. It kind of made the game a little boring. So flag football, I think, will be kind of exciting.
Yeah, I'm actually interested a little bit in seeing how it plays out. I'm not sure how much of my own personal time I'll be devoting to watching it. But it's going to be interesting to see if it is better received than the Pro Bowl. The selection process, which is something I'm sure we'll get to. We have a 30-minute podcast today, so I'm happy to talk about all of it. But I don't know if you've seen, but there is just they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel for these rosters.
Yeah. A lot of it has to do with notice that injuries have gone up, or they're like, I want to recover for next season, so I don't want to play any games. That's been a lot of players right now. So that when you see these names being picked, that's because some players are coming out and saying, I don't think I want to play, for health and stuff like that. So yeah. I think flag football will just be fun because you're watching a bunch of professional football players go out and have fun. I think it's going to be entertaining. They're going to be having a good time. They're going to be laughing, smiling. It's just going to be a good time instead of something as serious as, say, like a playoff game or the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be a good kind of outlet for them all to just kind of team up and play against each other.
I actually agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah, I think we kind of need that as NFL fans. This playoffs has been so intense. It's like you said, so serious. So I definitely think it'll be nice for some levity to be brought back to the game of football. The challenges, the showdowns are always fun. I love the dodgeball stuff. That's always the best catch. All that. For me, it's there's a handful of Buffalo Bills there, so I've always enjoyed just checking out, seeing what they were up to. Watching them, and I'm sure Lions have some guys there this year, right?
Yeah, so some came in. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell, and Jared Goff, and we'll get to that too.
That's a good trio.
Yeah, absolutely. So at that, 30 minutes of football starts. That's 15 minutes. 30 minutes of football with Legit Football starts now. So we're gonna start with the AFC. So some of your Buffalo Bills are on the roster for the AFC.
Yeah.
But Josh Allen isn't going to be playing.
Did you hear the reason why he's not going?
No, not. I do see two asterisks here, which means injury.
It's pretty funny because he's it's injury, but there's air quotes because he's also going to Pebble Beach's Pro-Am golf tournament. So same weekend. Hey. So Josh is I think he's been snubbed by the Pro Bowl a handful of times, and I think he took that personally, and I wouldn't be surprised if you never saw him at the Pro Bowl ever.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I personally, I think I would choose a golf tournament over the Pro Bowl as well.
It's a tough call. It's a coin flip for me. I don't know. It would depend on how I'd feel that week.
Right. Of course. So Patrick Mahomes is the first on the roster, but he's in the Super Bowl, so he will not be playing. But to talk about Patrick Mahomes, he did have the best season of any quarterback.
Definitely.
They have their ups and downs, but their downs were usually on defense. They never struggled on offense. That's a lot of reason why Patrick Mahomes is not the reason why they are in the Super Bowl at all. So real quick, kind of want to look back at Patrick Mahomes' years, what really stuck out to you?
I think consistency. Just everybody was questioning whether or not he would get to that level without elite wide receiver play, and he just answered that with a resounding yes! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! There's no doubt about it. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL, and that's pretty cool to get to watch him in another Super Bowl. It'll be interesting to see if he pads that legacy. 2 rings at this stage of his career, you got to start thinking. I don't know if he'll push Brady because Brady's just established such an insane ceiling, but he's definitely looking like he's going to be one of the all-time greats for sure.
There is that narrative because Peyton Manning played for a while. Tom Brady played for a while, but there was one thing that they didn't do, and that's run. Patrick Mahomes is a very mobile quarterback, so I don't think his athleticism is going to last as long as, say, Brady or Brett Favre because he runs a lot. That makes you vulnerable to injury. And Jackson is a very mobile runner. He's not going to last probably past his 40s as a quarterback.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting. Mahomes, Josh, Lamar, this whole crop of quarterbacks are all runners. So it'll be really interesting to see how their bodies hold up over time. If we're looking down this list, Josh Allen's year is kind of, I would say, again, scarred by inconsistency. He had some hot and cold streaks, but ultimately it's no question why he's there. He had, I think, like 42 touchdowns, like another 5,000 all-purpose yards. Like he's Josh, and he's going to do alien things. He's going to throw stupid interceptions. He's going to baffle you in good and bad ways. Burrow is the pinnacle of consistency at the quarterback position from a non-running standpoint. He's potentially the second coming of Brady.
Accurate. Like if I could rank quarterbacks by accuracy, Joe Burrow's first. Throw power, Josh Allen. Mobility, Mahomes. So there's these categories that you can place all. I mean, they're all elite.
They're all super, and they're all great at everything.
But they have their specialties. They have their X factors.
Burrow can scramble a little bit. Josh is super mobile as well. So down the list a little bit more, just to take on the guys who are actually going to be there. Check those boxes. Trevor Lawrence, very ascendant year. As a young guy coming back in, he's actually going to be showing up as far as I know. Not with all due respect, I'm not sure at all how Tyler Huntley made the Pro Bowl. It's kind of a little bit of a indictment on the current Pro Bowl is that you get so far down the list and so many guys say no that you end up with a backup quarterback who threw 2 touchdown passes all year. But I like Tyler Huntley as a backup. I think he'll be completely fine. He'll be fun to watch this weekend. And then Derek Carr getting a little farewell. He'll probably be representing the Raiders, even though he won't be there next year, which is a little awkward.
That hurts. That's that's bad.
It's a little awkward, but it'll be fun to watch, So yeah, those are 3 names: Trevor Lawrence, Tyler Huntley, Derek Carr, that we know of that are definitely showing up. So that's cool. I mean, 2 out of those 3 had pretty solid years, and they've been putting up good numbers. So it'll be fun to watch.
Yep.
Should we move on to the running backs?
I have a couple thoughts on the AFC quarterbacks because I said at the beginning of the year that the AFC was going to be the best the quarterback game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's these 3 names that kind of solidifies that. But Trevor Lawrence snuck in and kind of showed what he's capable of too. So could Trevor Lawrence be up in the with Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow next year and in the coming years?
No doubt.
Can we consider him elite?
I think not yet, but I think no doubt he can be very easily.
Eventually,
he's there on the cusp, right? Like his weapons are great. Doug Peterson's great. They had a nice little run in the playoffs this year. So I think no doubt it's possible. I'm not forecasting elite play. I would say top 7, I would say at the moment, because I think you got those couple guys in the NFC, like, your Hurts and, I don't know about Kyler Murray. That's going to be interesting to see if he comes back to any sort of consistency. One, yeah. But, there's some guys. I mean, Brady riding off into the sunset definitely makes the NFC quarterback position a little more of a question mark. But, I think you're right. The dominant quarterback play is in the AFC, no doubt.
Especially amongst those, younger guys. They're all kind of at that age where they have a really long career ahead of them. And so their development is definitely important in that sense.
Yeah.
So let's move on to running backs then. We have Nick Chubb. No surprise there. Josh Jacobs had a really good season, and Derrick Henry.
It's a great trio of running backs right there, man. Josh Jacobs was the RB1 on the year, fantasy football rushing title. Josh Jacobs really surprised a lot of people, and I think he's in line for a massive payday this offseason. I'm very excited to see what Josh Jacobs can parlay this year into as far as contract goes, as far as opportunity goes. I think he's definitely going to be looked at as one of the top 3 running backs in the NFL for fantasy next year, and just as overall running backs next year. What are your thoughts on that group?
So because I like Nick Chubb, he didn't have as a consistent of a year, but
He
that's
kind of fell off down the
because
stretch.
it did. But Stefanski has quite the running back dual scheme where he likes to split carries. And I think if
Yeah,
Nick Chubb had the opportunity to get a majority of those carries, he could have had a better year. But because of how that offense operates, that kind of put him behind. So he's behind Jacobs and Henry statistically, but that's why. But in skill, I think Nick Chubb is still the greatest running back in the league right now.
I could
Just
see
because the way
that.
he can move, keep his feet moving, he kind of has a Barry Sanders-esque kind of agility to him.
Yeah, and it's also coupled with such power. He's really of such a blend of size and speed. Yeah, Derrick Henry again, just the pinnacle of consistency. He's probably putting together a Hall of Fame resume right now. I'd love to see the Titans actually have some success while he's still in the league. It looks like his prime might get wasted. But that's going to be interesting to track. That's all I got for the AFC running backs. I'm very excited to talk about the fullbacks.
Yes, the most important position on an offense.
I love
the
fullback.
fullback.
It's so fun.
Patrick Ricard is the AFC fullback. Played for the Ravens. He had a good year, especially on that goal line. He is a blocker. I've seen him block for Lamar Jackson to scramble so many times. There's just one play that just popped into my head where Ricard pushed a 300-pound, 6'7" defensive end to let Lamar Jackson through. This dude can block, and not only can he run the ball well and catch the ball even on flats, but he can block, and I think that can luck out. I think he deserves his Pro Bowl spot.
He's like the size of a linebacker, and he's quick. He's agile. Yeah, I love Pat Ricard. I'm glad he's in the Pro Bowl. I think players like him are great for the NFL. I don't want to see the fullback position die. I'm an advocate. Make fullbacks great again is something I'm championing. Moving
Absolutely.
Forward. Looking at these wide receivers, bro, what names jump out to you?
Tyreek Hill. When he went to the Dolphins, his expectations were low. People are like, he's not going to have as good of a season with Tua. He's not going to be an elite wide receiver. He's the best receiver in the league.
Yeah.
With Tua. I mean,
one of them.
With the Dolphins, he has been probably maybe better than he was with the Chiefs.
Yeah, he had a great season.
He's being used. Yeah, I mean, I guess that offense really helps because they really, implemented into it those jet sweeps that he does. They have a lot of opportunities for him to do well, to succeed. And I think that the Chiefs didn't use him like the Dolphins have, and that's where he's finding a lot of that success.
Yeah, and I love seeing the name Stefon Diggs there. That's definitely my guy. That's definitely one of my all-time favorite players. As everybody who listens knows, I'm a huge Bills fan. So seeing Stefon Diggs in the top 2 receivers of the AFC, especially given how the Bills exited and how kind of negative and sour that whole situation was, it'll be really interesting to see Steph come back and maybe hopefully have some good things to say about the team and maybe walk back some of his aggression in the way that he left things. It's going to be nice to see him wear the helmet with the Bills logo on it. I definitely need some of that Steph Diggs love in my life right now. Other than those two, Devontae Adams and Jamar Chase, what can you say about them that haven't been said? Jamar Chase is going to be a stud forever, it looks like.
Oh yeah, Jamar Chase is going to be the next Jerry Rice. I mean, just his consistency, his ability to. He got hurt, came right back in, and immediately started getting yards, started getting points, started catching every pass that was thrown to him. So even out of an injury, he was as consistent as he was before the injury, and I think that says a lot, especially for the receiver position. Devontae Adams under Derek Carr, who didn't do very well, was still able to succeed. Like he caught passes that he shouldn't have caught. He was able to get into the end zone multiple times. I think both of these receivers do deserve the Pro Bowl. I want to ask you, out of these receivers, they're probably going to do a best catch contest.
Can't wait.
Who's going to take this one? Because they all can catch. Who do you think is a better catcher?
Diggs. I think Stefon Diggs is going to take it because he's so flashy, man. If you've seen him walk into the stadium, he's got the craziest pregame fits I've ever seen in my life. He'll bring the flash and the panache to the catch contest. I think Steph Diggs is going to have best catch. What do you think?
I want to say Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
I think that just
Tough
his
to
ability to
argue.
get that ball, his
Yeah.
hands, like he
Size.
doesn't even. So many times, he doesn't even look at the ball. He just knows where it's going to be.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really important in that as a receiver to be able to catch the ball, even if you know where it's going, you know where it's going to be. And I think Devontae Adams is really good at knowing that.
Heck yeah, man. So looking at the tight ends, sucks to see Travis Kelce's name on there, knowing he won't be able to, compete. Sucks that he'll be getting ready for another big game in a week.
Yeah, I would have loved to see that, but
yeah,
I'd rather see him in the Super Bowl. So
he's special,
a win-win.
man. I think he might be the GOAT tight end. I've been saying that on this podcast since I started coming on, and I'll keep banging that drum. Mark Andrews.
So if
and
you
Dawson
had
Knox?
if you had to pick somebody in their prime, Travis Kelce or Tony Gonzalez?
I knew you were going to ask that. It's really hard to go against Tony Gonzalez, but I think I'm going to take Travis Kelce. I've just seen what he can do. As a ceiling and as far as a weapon, like I just don't think anybody else has what he's got. He's so unique. He's such a unique talent.
Agree. Tight ends. We have Mark Andrews and Dawson Knox. We have about 2.5 minutes till we go to the NFC. So I want to finish this list off.
Happy to see Dawson Knox on there.
Yeah, you're a Bills fan. Tell me about him. What did you see special from him this year?
I'll be honest with you. I don't think the usage was appropriate in my opinion. I felt like Dawson Knox, when targeted, when he had the opportunities, I think he was a huge contributor. Prior to the season, he lost his brother in a tragic accident. So his brother, I kind of think he was playing with a heavy heart a lot. He had a better second half of the season than first half of the season. Him and Josh were on a mind meld towards the playoffs. Like there was something like 6 consecutive games where Knox caught a touchdown pass. So he hit a one-handed touchdown in the wild card round against Miami. I definitely think Dawson Knox is still fantastic. I definitely think he's still a top 5 tight end, top 8 tight end in the NFL. It's good to see him in the Pro Bowl. Mark Andrews, I felt like had a down year, but we know why he's there. He can be a great tight end, and I think he'll show that this weekend. What about you? What do you think about those guys?
I like both of these tight ends in fantasy. I wasn't let down with Mark Andrews. He was very consistent. But out of fantasy, I think he was very crucial to that offense. After they lost Lamar Jackson, he was still able to be available for. Tyler Huntley threw like 7 touchdowns to Mark Andrews, just single-handedly. So I think that he was a very important part of that offense for the Ravens when they lost their quarterback. I think that really stuck out. Knox, he's Dawson Knox. He's going to be good as long as he stays consistent, as long as he gets open. He's able to catch passes and even block on like HB draws and
he's pretty good at he's a pretty good blocker for sure. I think if anything, Knox, I just would like to see his usage go up. They went out and paid him top tight end money, so let's see some top tight end usage. Let's take a look at the OL on the whole, right? Because we do have to get to the NFC.
Yeah, there's not much to talk about here. All these names have been very good for their lines, protecting their quarterbacks, getting that run game going. They all know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody not watching the YouTube, if you're just listening, the Jackals are Laramie Tunzel, Taron Armstead, Orlando Brown, Deion Dawkins, and then the guards are Joel Bitonio. Quentin Nelson is not going to play. Joe is in the Super Bowl. Then we have Roger Saffold, the Bills, Wyatt Teller, Creed Humphrey, Mitch Morse, and Ben Jones, all on offensive line for the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, and I'm happy with seeing a couple Bills in there. Saffold was a little questionable this year. That's definitely why you see the guards slide down. Seeing 2 guards not play, that makes sense why Saffold's there. But Morse and Dawkins were consistent all year. Orlando Brown also won't be there because he's in the Super Bowl as well, one of the tackles. But Tunzel, Armstead, Bitonio, Creed Humphrey, these guys are unbelievable players. So, I definitely think a lot of the best offensive linemen in the NFL are in the AFC.
Excited. The offensive linemen are going to be doing tug of war.
Oh, that's fun.
These are strong guys. That's going to be a fun event to watch.
Yeah, definitely.
So now we're going to move on to the NFC Pro Bowl roster 2023. Jalen Hurts is on top. He will not be playing because he is participating in Super Bowl 57 to play the Kansas City Chiefs. So what sticks out here? We have Jalen Hurts, Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff.
Well, Kirk Cousins had a great year. He had a fantastic year for his standards. Definitely just continues to establish himself as one of those elite middle range quarterbacks. Like he is comfortably between the 9th and the 15th best quarterback every year. And he's very consistent and, power to him. I mean, he's not ever going to be the flashiest, top 3 guy, but being, top 15, there's something to be said for that consistency that he's had. I love seeing Geno Smith's name there because nobody would have thought that prior to this season. I think he's going to get the comeback player of the year. And then Jared Goff, your boy, take the floor with Jared Goff, Anthony, because you've been singing his praises for a long time.
So I wore number 16 today because of this. Jared Goff made it because Jalen Hurts made the Super Bowl. But to be runner-up is something, too. I think you have to give him credit for that. He did terrible last year. Yeah. And he really came back this year. He was focused. He was on it. He worked hard. He wasn't even on HBO. He wasn't even on HBO's Hard Knocks because he wanted to stay focused. He wanted to study. And that means a lot for a leader like Jared Goff. And Jared Goff is a leader. And I think that shows a lot with what the future holds. They are sticking with Jared Goff, especially after this season. So I'm really excited to see what he can do and to see him in the Pro Bowl games. I think that's going to be a lot of fun to see a familiar face playing.
That's true, definitely. Same for me with my Bills. That's going to be you with your Lions. Yeah. The running back list, Saquon, unbelievable year, definitely deserves to be there. It sucks to see Pollard not be able to go due to the leg injury. And Miles Sanders, I'm not surprised he made it. He had a pretty fantastic year. Dalvin Cook, interesting name for a Pro Bowl given the year that he had, but again, they need warm bodies, and they got
exactly.
They got Dalvin
so I
Cook
do want to know, because I do see that there's only 2 running backs, so somebody had to have come in as a alternate. Do you know who came in as an alternate for Miles Sanders and Tony Pollard?
I'm actually not sure at the moment. Yeah, we can check that out. Maybe get it to the folks by the end of the show. We can keep plowing through our list here because dude. You were right about this idea for this pod. It's definitely really fun to talk about. It's fun to talk about the players and the years that they had.
It is, yeah.
Use check.
So Saquon Barkley, I'm going to at the running backs for just a second here. Saquon Barkley got hurt last year. He did not play for a very long time, and then he really came back swinging. Like he was almost as good as he was when we saw him in his prime before the injury. He was almost just as good, and I think that the Giants didn't really use him like they should have, just because they wanted to kind of bring him in slowly. So Barkley might be hitting free agency. He has not been re-signed yet. Do you think the Giants are going to re-sign Barkley?
I do believe so, yeah. It'll be tough to re-sign Jones and Barkley, but I don't see him playing anywhere else. I think he has a great chemistry with that team and with that locker room, and I think Daboll loves him. Clearly, they want to utilize him as a weapon. Definitely looking forward to hearing who the new names are on the NFC side of the ball. But another comeback player of the year candidate, Saquon Barkley. You're right. His fight from that injury is really something to be proud of.
Absolutely. So a name that we are not used to not seeing in the Pro Bowl, if that makes sense. Kyle Juszczyk, fullback for the 49ers, might be the greatest fullback in his position ever. He's good. He can block. He can run. He can catch. He's a jack of all trades.
Yeah, he
really makes that fullback position relevant. What do you think about
There you go. Oh, I'm so happy to see Kyle Juszczyk's name there, man. Just every single game, you'll see him make 1 or 2 plays where you're just like, man, that is just a grown man play. I think he'd be a good tight end. Believe it or not, he's so athletic and he's so good with the ball in his hands. Like, I love that he's got the fullback role. Like, I'm happy to see that role continue to flourish and thrive. But he's so good with the ball in his hands, and he's got soft hands. He's good at making catches. I wouldn't be surprised if Juszczyk made out to be a great tight end too. I mean, they got Kittle, so they don't need him to be that, but he does a great job at the tight end position.
They could definitely use him for him. So when Brock Purdy went down, and then Josh Johnson went down, Juszczyk was actually supposed to be the emergency quarterback. And I kind of wanted to see that because he can play tight end, he can play receiver, he can play running back, he could probably play offensive lineman. And so to see him maybe play quarterback was kind of exciting to think about. But
that's a really talented dude.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a really talented
Swiss Army knife of the NFL for sure.
That's what it is, exactly.
So, and wide receivers, Justin Jefferson there's no surprise here. He is
one of the greatest in the league
of the 2022 season. He almost beat a record. He was, I think, 167 yards from Calvin Johnson's single season yards. So for the Vikings, Justin Jefferson and really do with Kirk Cousins, made Kirk Cousins look good. So what do you think about Jefferson? He definitely deserves to be in the Pro Bowl.
Oh
But
yeah.
how was his season to you?
I think Jefferson had one of the greatest receiver seasons we've ever seen. He was the wide receiver one in fantasy by a large margin, and he continues to be based. Okay, so we talked about the AFC receivers, right? I think you take
Yep.
Justin Jefferson, you put him on the AFC, and then boom, there's like the top 5 receivers in the league. Don't get me wrong. I think
Oh,
AJ
okay.
Brown has a case to be made to be in that list, but I think Jefferson, Diggs, Adams, Hill. I think maybe AJ Brown is the next guy up on that list, but it he sticks out to me on the NFC side as like head and shoulders above everybody else. And then AJ Brown is right there. But CeeDee Lamb, Terry McLaurin, Amon Ra. I love Amon Ra. You know that we have a shared love of Amon Ra.
Oh
But
yeah,
those
no, he's
guys,
amazing.
I think they have another step to take before they're in the tiers with Justin Jeffersons and the AJ Browns. What do you think about that?
I can agree with that. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown, Terry McLaurin, even CeeDee Lamb, they're kind of like that next tier list
Yep.
after, but not that far. They are
Right.
still right there. And Amon-Ra St. Brown needs like maybe one more really good season to maybe hit those ranks, and he could get that. He's wide
Yeah.
receiver one.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Definitely, he's a part of that, a big part of that offense because you can see
Mm-hmm.
him taking jet sweeps. You can see him running the ball too. He knows how to get out, get open. He can
Mm-hmm.
catch anything thrown to him. Smaller guy, where you see Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, they're big dudes. Amon-Ra St.
Yeah,
Brown, he's a little bit smaller compared to that, but so is
that's
Tyreek
true.
Hill, and we put him up there. And I think that he's not as fast as Hill, but he definitely has mobility.
Yeah, 106 catches for Amon Ra. That's kind of insane. Like that's like some Jarvis Landry type numbers, man. Like I could definitely see Amon Ra St. Brown going on a career trajectory where he maybe gets in the tiers of like those slot guys that just get all those
Yeah.
catches, like the Wes Welkers, Danny Amendola, Cole Beasley. He seems like he has that profile. I mean, he's got a little bit more verticality than those guys as far as like a player, but like I definitely think that like that's going to be a good role for him as like a 100 catch guy. I bet he's a 100 catch guy the rest of his career.
Absolutely. And with the way that the Lions offense has really been finding their rhythm, I think that he's
Yeah,
going to be a big part of what's coming in the future with Detroit Lions, because we can see a team that's about to be scary. And he's
definitely.
a big reason behind that. So in the tight end list, I see a name that had the former Lion,
Former
Hockenson.
Lion.
So
Broken heart emoji.
a lot of the success he had this season was with Detroit. So he was kind of half and half, and then made it to the Pro Bowl as a Viking. But going back to the first season before he was traded, TJ Hockenson was reliable. He was big. He could block. He caught passes in the end zone that a lot of tight ends would be able to catch. He has hands. He has size. He's very useful. But now he's a part of the Vikings offense where they're using him as more of a receiver, less of a blocker, where Detroit was kind of like, we're not going to pay you like tight end money when we don't even have a tight end based offense. And they did not.
Yeah.
I mean, Brock Wright did just fine with the way that they
True.
are running the offense. So I think Hockenson is more useful as a Viking, and that got him into the Pro Bowl along with George Kittle, who is just, I mean, George Kittle, there's no doubt that he's the best tight end in the NFC.
Yeah, I agree with that. And seeing what he could do when Brock Purdy came in and when Brock Purdy heavily utilized the tight end position, George Kittle and Brock Purdy had a mind meld, man. That was a beautiful thing to watch, those two players. Hockenson, yeah, what a stud, man. I mean,
yeah,
we've always known that he was a stud, like even on the Lions. But you're right, utilization was a little bit of a problem. Now that he's getting the heavy utilization that he's getting in Minnesota, like they hyper targeted TJ Hockenson towards the end of the season and in the playoffs. TJ Hockenson, man, he has the potential to be a top 3, top 5 tight end in the league for years to come, I think. And I'm happy to see him in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 4.5 minutes left to talk about the offensive line. We have Trent Williams. We've heard his name multiple times this season.
Such a stud.
All those 49ers wins, Trent Williams was a big part of that. Christian McCaffrey was really able to hit those outside
great protection for the
Trent
quarterback
Williams,
too.
Exactly. And it was Brock Purdy always had time in the pocket to get those passes out to usually Kittle.
Until the playoffs,
so I think
until the division or until the championship.
Right, exactly. They kind of shot themselves in the foot a little there.
A little bit.
But Brock Purdy getting hurt was no help. Even with Trent Williams being in his prime, he was still not able to stop that pass rush, which Williams never struggled to do all season. So I think that Trent Williams is definitely one that's going to go down in history. Hall of Famer offensive tackle, you think?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think he's a stud, definitely a potential Hall of Famer. Lane Johnson on the Eagles sucks he won't be at the game, but he definitely will be somebody who's also in contention if he keeps this crazy career stretch that he's on. Tristan Wirfs and Penei Sewell, those are the young guys. Those are the young guns coming
Yeah,
in, stepping up, playing
absolutely.
great offensive line play. So I'm happy to see that. You got to be happy to see your boy Penei in the Pro Bowl,
So
protecting your
when
boy
Penei
Goff.
Sewell, when Penei Sewell was picked, first round, I was excited. I'm like, this is what we need. I've watched some highlights of him in college, and this guy can block, he can pancake, he can do
Yeah,
everything. He
he's a
even got
mauler.
in a fight. He tried to fight Aaron Donald. You don't fight Aaron Donald,
It's a
but
questionable
he
life
was
decision.
fearless. So Penei Sewell is one of the most fearless tackles in the league right now, and he plays for the Lions, and he was a lot of success the offense had, and he deserves this Pro Bowl spot. He got in because of Lane Johnson being an Eagle, so he did get in though. Like I said, runner up is important too, so I'm excited to see
Absolutely.
him in the Pro Bowl. I think he deserves that recognition.
And then you keep going down the list here of the Pro Bowl offensive lineman on the NFC side of the ball, and you got Zach Martin. What again, pinnacle of consistency. He's been one of the greatest. He's been one of the greatest players that we've seen. Honestly, I don't think we've ever seen as consistent of a great player as Zach Martin.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's definitely a Hall of Famer.
Definitely.
He's the Cowboys offensive line decent. Without him, I think that whoever's playing quarterback for the Cowboys at the time
Yeah, right.
will deal with a lot of sacks because he's very important in that pass blocking game. Landon Dixon, I actually forgot to highlight that, but he's playing in the Super Bowl, so he won't be performing. Chris Lindstrom with the Falcons, Elton Jenkins with the Packers, Jason Kelsey, one of the centers ever.
All-time
He
Hall
is
of Famer.
with his brother Travis Kelsey, first brother duo to play in the Super Bowl. Their mom is the real winner here.
Yeah, that's so true.
Frank Ragnow with the Lions. He's been good ever since he
Another
was
one.
drafted. He's young. He's big. He can block. He's a really
Anthony,
good.
your Lions
center,
are
I think.
representing, man. Your Lions are
Oh,
representing.
absolutely.
That's awesome.
And you saw at the second half of the season that the Lions were a whole different team.
They're
So
for real.
all of these guys are coming back for next season. So we'll see if they make the Pro Bowl again. We'll see how they do.
Yeah, kind of wild how we dove so deep into offense that we don't even really have time to get into the defensive side of the ball. That'll have to be something we come back to.
Well, we have a minute to go through the defense if you want to do that real fast.
If we want to just go through, pick out some names. I mean, as I'm looking down the list, seeing Chris Jones on there, I wish he was going to be there this weekend. As we know, he's playing in the Super Bowl. Happy to see All-Pro Matt Milano on the linebacker side of the ball for the AFC. That makes me really happy. Sauce
Roquan
Gardner
Smith being traded to Ravens
midway through the season. Yep, that's a fun one. Pat Surtain, consistent. Marlon Humphrey, consistent. Jordan Poyer in his last year as a Bill, man. I don't think he's coming back, which is heartbreaking. And then Justin Tucker. I mean, what a stud, what a consistent stud kicker. That feels like a good amount of coverage for the AFC. And then you want to flip over to the NFC. We'll do this. This is the lightning round.
Nick Bosa, no surprise there. He almost beat a sack record. Aaron Donald, he retired, so this is gonna be his last Pro Bowl.
So sad.
It is absolutely. He's a legend. Micah Parsons, no surprise. That's insane, just crazy.
One of the best players in the league.
Fred Warner, Demario Davis. We got Darius Slay, Trayvon Diggs. Tariq Woolen did a really good job at corner, and
as
that's
a rookie.
fine.
And we
are
did it,
out
man.
of time, but I do want to go into overtime because I do want to cover the rest of these defense. So we'll just put like 2 minutes on the clock.
Sure. Yeah.
So 2-minute overtimes because I do want to go over a little bit of this.
Yeah. Jair Alexander was unbelievable. Buda Baker.
I really like the cornerbacks on this list right now. I'm looking at it and I'm like, all of these corners have been such crucial points in their defenses. Darius Slay, especially Trayvon Diggs, he did really well in that second. He was basically the whole Cowboys secondary. Tariq Woolen led in interceptions by a rookie cornerback. So he did really well getting to that ball. Jair Alexander is just insane.
Jair Alexander was a shutdown at times this year. I mean, he had the clamps for Justin Jefferson. I don't know if I've seen anybody guard Justin Jefferson. I mean, I know a lot of it had to do with the bracket coverage that they were doing, but Jefferson had quiet games against the Packers both times they played. So it's kind of shocking to think that anybody can shut down Justin Jefferson, but Jair Alexander found a way all year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Quandre Diggs, safety for the Seahawks. He did really well. He got the game-winning interception against the Rams to make it into playoffs. So that was huge for them. Budda Baker, he was a little bit quiet, but he did show up when he needed to.
Talanoa Hufanga on the 49ers, unreal player, future Troy Polamalu type player.
I'm excited about Hufanga. I really am. I'm excited to see him play because he's going to develop into someone great. Jason Myers, kicker for the Seahawks. Tress Way, punter. We have Kavontae Turpin, kick return for the Cowboys. And so Kavontae Turpin, he is very he's quick.
He's fast
on his feet. He's very, very fast. He can return kicks very well.
Yeah.
So that's it. I'm glad we were able to cover the defense.
Yeah, we gave him some love. We really dove in on the offensive side of the ball, but defensive players need love too. So I'm glad we got to do some overtime there, touch on that. But that was a great, fun 32 minutes, Anthony. That was a good time.
Oh, I agree. Absolutely. And that's it. That's the game. So, Kevin, what is the event in the Pro Bowl games that you are most looking forward to?
Probably dodgeball. It's like the most exciting thing. I always love watching them play dodgeball every year. It's so fun.
What
about you?
I like the pass precision. So I do like to see which quarterback can pass more accurate. I think that's very important, especially in the real game, to see who can throw better than, because all these quarterbacks, they compete against each other through the years. And now they're on a field, no pads, just passing, backyard football, playing against each other, trying to see who can throw better. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Definitely.
A lot of these names, it makes sense that they're on this list. There's a lot of players that should have made the Pro Bowl that didn't, but better luck next year, I guess.
As always, right? There's always some snubs, man. But anyways, Anthony, I really appreciate you as always, man. This was a blast.
Oh, absolutely. So, kind of have a good weekend. Enjoy the Pro Bowl game, and
you as well,
I'll
my
see
friend.
you back next week so we can talk about Super Bowl 57.
Oh, that's what people are here for. Let's go.
Exactly. I'm so excited. All right. Well, this has been 30 Minutes of Football with Legit Football. See you later.
That's spicy. Jimmy Garoppolo on there could be a benefit, but have they kind of burned that bridge? We'll say this. Gardner Minshew is the best backup in the NFL.
I love Gardner.